Jesus declared, "I'm the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty." I noticed in the month and a half of the Lenten season, as Laura and I adopted a temporarily restricted diet, that it was pretty hard not to focus on the food that was missing. At first, super hard. It does get easier as we go along, and actually every time that we do a fast like that. But I have to say, one thing I know about myself is that I like to satisfy my appetite. When I feel hungry, I want to eat, and I really want to enjoy the food I'm eating. And when I've got a craving, I tend to prepare whatever food we have to approximate whatever it is that I have in mind. I guess that's part of what's made me a decent cook. But I notice in this quote from Jesus that he was not simply offering himself to those who were with him, he was correcting them. There was this one day when Jesus fed 5,000 plus people through the miraculous multiplying of a few loaves of bread and some fish to feed them all. One portion turned into over 5,000. And that got the crowd pretty excited. So excited about the free food that they followed Jesus around the lake the next day and kind of badgered him, I'd say, at least persistently asked him for some more food. His generosity and care from the previous day to provide for them, since they'd come to listen to him and be with him but had no food, turned into, he saw, not a desire to be near him or to listen to him or to follow his way, but simply a desire for their next meal. It's clear enough when we hear Jesus say, "Do not work for food that spoils, but food that endures to eternal life, which the Son of Man will give to you," in the same passage. He even goes a bit over the top with his explanation of how challenging following him will be for them a little bit later. And it says, from this time, many of his disciples turned back and no longer followed him. So how do we follow Jesus in the context of our appetites and desires and our very real needs being met? It seems, from this event at least, that there is a hierarchy of desires for Jesus. Wanting what we need for our physical appetite and nourishment is certainly not a bad thing. He did feed them all the day before. There is, though, a different kind of nourishment and a different kind of wanting that Jesus seems to lift above these others. I might say it another way. Jesus can satisfy us in a way that makes every other kind of satisfaction, nourishment, and desire pale in comparison. I know the person I am and becoming today looks very different from the person I was before Jesus began to make things new in my life. I don't want the same things. My appetites have changed. I'm not satisfied by the same things. The contentment I used to experience by fulfilled cravings is not the same as it was. Now, I'm still prone to slide towards the things that don't satisfy for long. I've put a few pounds back on since Lent ended to prove it. But that's why Laura and I take up a kind of a fast in that season before Easter, to reorient our bodies, our attention, and our desires, to remind us that Jesus alone can bring the fulfillment of our wants and needs. Being with him, hearing his voice, doing his work with him, these fill us up. My question for today is, in a couple of words, what's something Jesus could do to satisfy you? What might being full from Jesus look like for you as compared to being full from a good meal? Might be different today from what you would have said yesterday or might say tomorrow, but if Jesus were to meet you in a big way, how might he provide for you today? Hey, we would love to ask him for that with you. So if you drop us a comment or a message, we'll ask him to meet with you in that, to provide for you. We'll pray for you. Let's see what Jesus says to us when we ask him. Let's find out what he will do to provide. God bless, and I'll see you next time.